tuning back to us. I had the chance to catch up with Stacey Jackson, who we talked about in our first sailing show when she was cruising around Sydney Harbour full speed in an Extreme 40. But following that race, she did the Sydney Hobart, and it was her 10th one, and she wanted her name on the honours board, but things didn't quite turn out that way. So Stacey, tell us about your Sydney Hobart. Not quite what you planned, right?
Yes, hi Dee. Thanks for having me back as well. Yeah, unfortunately our Hobart race, didn't finish how we wanted it to. We had a pretty good start. We were out the heads just behind all those maxi boats you saw on the TV, and then we got through the southerly front pretty well. We had a good transition, but sadly, the early hours of the first morning, our owner of our boat had a fall inside of the boat and broke his leg. So of course, we have to do everything possible for him. So we turned the boat around as soon as we could, and started to sail back to Jervis Bay, which is the next sort of port that's big enough for a boat like ours to come ashore.
Wow. And what kind of medication, like what kind of medical situation did you have to deal with? A broken leg, were you just having to keep him stable? What was the plan?
Yeah, it was it's something that luckily the training that we'd done was the exact scenario that Peter found himself in. So he'd broken his femur, which is the bone from your hip to your knee, which if you know much about medical training as you do, Dee, that's a fairly serious break. To for anyone to be in. So yeah, we had to sort of stabilize him, try and reduce the pain where we could, and also move him to a more secure spot in the boat, because where he actually fell was quite a way forward in the boat. And if you followed the race, you knew we were going upwind in quite heavy conditions, so the boat was bouncing around a lot. And it was very uncomfortable down below. So our first thing was to slow the boat down, make it a little bit more stable platform for the medics to work in, and a little bit more comfortable for Peter with the broken leg.
And for Peter, how long was it before he got ashore for expert medical care after your guys looked after him initially?
Yeah, it was 13 hours from the moment he fell to when we got him. We were passing him off from our boat on the stretcher that we built onto a rescue boat, which then took him ashore, where he transferred into an ambulance, and then to hospital. And there was another 2 ambulance rides before he actually found the hospital where he took the surgery for fixing his leg.
Wow. And the good news is he's on the road to recovery, or what's the verdict?
Yeah, great news. He's had some surgery and he's up and about on crutches. Possibly a little frustrated with it all right now, but very keen and super excited to be able to get back out there and go sailing again, which is great news.
Oh, fantastic news. Well, credit to you and the whole crew for dealing with that situation and keeping an owner positive about sailing and not putting him off. But how
Yeah,
bad was it? Because the talk at the beginning of the race was that front was quite horrible and kind of heinous conditions. How bad was it?
it was actually. It hasn't been a bad Hobart race for a few years now, so a lot of people get complacent on what happens when we do get a good southerly front. And this year it was a strong one. There's definitely been worse ones in the history of the race, but we saw high 30s, early 40 knots for a long period of time through the night, and the seaway was quite bad for the bigger boats like us. We were 70 feet, and up to the 100 footers. It's a really tough conditions to sail in, because the boats are a little bit too big and a little bit too fast for that seaway. So we were launching over waves pretty. A little bit too big for the boat, and I know a lot of the other bigger boats, that's where they suffered their damage, was through the seaway more so than the strength of the wind.
And for you personally, that name isn't on the honours board yet. Are you determined to make sure it gets there still?
Well, actually, I do. My name's up there now. It will be. That does get me 10 Hobart races. I've actually finished 7 from 10 starts now. So yeah, they actually count the starts for Hobart. So all those guys who've done 25 as well, that's the same scenario for them. I don't think they get anyone's name on the board if you actually had to finish.
Well, well done you, and thank you for coming back and telling us about your race, and wishing you all the best for 2016 and all the sailing you're going to do. I hear you're not so interested in being on the water anymore. You want to be above it in the future.
Yeah, I'm
Good
gonna have
luck.
a go at foiling. I think that's the future of sailing. So wish me luck, and hope you see me again in one piece.
Fingers crossed you stay in one piece. Look after yourself out there. Thanks, Stacey.
Thanks very much, Dee.